I am, well, it's like, the thing is, it's going to be interesting to find a way to, are we recording again? Ah! Yeah, it's going to be interesting to find a way to organize thoughts, because it's such a big subject, so that's the main thing, is like, so how do we like break things up in smaller, like digestible...
Well, that's right. I started to work on it here, and then actually being able to, like one area, social architecture, what's that?
Yeah, right.
Another social compact coming out of social architecture.
Yeah.
Where does shamanism fit into that consciousness? And how does shamanism actually shift into religion, shifting into that? So then there's a spiritual component. So there's all these different components in somatic embodiment education.
Yeah.
C, which is, you know, the basis of my work to support the healing of our trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So personal, and then looking at archetypal, and once you look at the archetypal dynamics of how our personals are so wounded, we look at our social compacts in the social architect that we currently have that creates the social archetypes that are working on us globally, and that's where we need to evolve that socially.
Right. Cool. So, like, for example, like the pages could be an entire chapter.
Yes.
Right. Just like describing.
Exactly.
Right. You know.
Right,
and then,
right.
And then the other thing is like, so you could do it like that. You could be like, this is pages. This is C. This is like this is my take on shamanism. You know.
Exactly.
So you could take all these small subjects. The other thing you can do is take something like a phrase like this. Now it's time to declare our interdependence. And write an article that has all of the elements, including the pages, and you say just a little bit about
That's
each
what
thing.
we're doing right now.
Yeah.
That's it, you know, and but these are like the areas, right. And then once that's said, like the intro, we're working on the intro.
Right.
Meow.
Right.
Which can be fleshed out over the next however, but just helping to kind of launch it in, and then going what's next. So, because this is, you know, our species has set itself apart from the natural world. So I'm just going to read this to you.
Yeah, please.
Okay. Our species has set itself apart from the natural world. This separation has given rise to the world we see around us, man-made, constructed. Bridges, skyscrapers, roads, skyways, from continent to continent we fly. Our species has made a very large mark on planet Earth. On the backs of our animal nature, our wild nature, we have vilified, cut down, dominated, harnessed to build nations. We, as a species, conquer and enslave the natural world, a base note in much of the unconscious collective agreement. This base note, this part of the song of the human equation, is embedded in the game rules of the dominant tone of our society. Some call it patriarchy.
Okay.
We, many of us, see the reality that the game rules must change for our culture to gain a strong footing towards a collective direction that draws down the carbon in the atmosphere and stops releasing it from the ground. We are in a race to draw down carbon dioxide from the atmosphere in the next 10 years. The reports keep coming out. This last by the scientific community gives us 10 years, 1 decade to do this, to align our values and our technology towards a society that is once again connected to the natural world, to our wild nature and to the nature of the wild, to give us back our connection to our innate wisdom, to connect within the clarity of who we are as a part of this world, not separate from it, but a part of it. I believe we will gain the passion and fortitude to foster healthy human relations across all party lines, aligning with the interconnected reality that we are a part of this planet and a part of this world. As the value aligns with our innate capacity to be a part of this world, our choices will align with the choices that choose to see the whole that we are a part of, and that within that each choice that we choose directs us home to planet Earth.
Cool.
To harness human potential is to connect us to our connections with the natural world, both in ourselves and how we agree to be in relationship with planet Earth. We are in a race to see if we will take our technology, our human genius, into another land of social agreement, to debug the game rules and to apply clear thinking on how to build a society that realigns with our interconnected capacity of cohabitation and co-creation. within human dynamics, we, all of us, struggle in some manner or other with the innate dance of human behavior and expression. Trauma and the culture of trauma, survival, and the underpinnings of stress on the system, how we have set up our world for our humanness, is up for a debugging of what it does not serve and what it does. Choice points are being called for, and to choose more clearly what we do, we must understand what we do not want. Power in the hands of bullies is one piece of the equation we must change. To transform our collective capacity to come forward and grow healthy ways of dealing with the new challenges of this century, we must find our voice and speak our truth and share our individual, to find our bloodline under the surface of all skins and feel the common ancestry of the heartbeat that is shared through life, the heartbeat of all animals, the heartbeat in the breath of the sky that is fed each day by the rainforests, the lungs of planet Earth. Nature's way is my guiding light. I feel as a translator for our planet, for those whose language is below words in the timeless realms of existence. I tap in, channel, find ways to listen and learn from what I hear in the wind, in my own blood, from the channels of war to the deep oceans of our outer space. I have the ability to listen and interpret. And now I feel this deep urge, my inner birth cry, speak and share. To break the social compact of violence as the bottom line is the baseline of C and social architecture. The aim for each of my arms is to support the integration through metabolizing trauma, war dynamics, human relations, the internal explosive behavior that lives in the root primal of unexpressed that leads to violence. To understand how we have created agreements, social compacts that are rooted in collective agreements that create the dynamics of war, the reality of poverty, the clear and certain climate shift that puts in question the stability of a vibrant future for our robust species to expand, that is undermining the breath of our shared biosphere. That needs a little work. So much unconscious behavior, trigger response, pain, trauma. This trigger response trauma circle, a collective looping process, cultivates patterns of behavior. A slave, a worker, a clerk, a bureaucrat, a government official, a prison system, the educational system, the system in all its many forms. To debug the authoritarian structure from the inside out, to understand it is in all different kinds of systems, and in order to change the system, we must integrate a different set of values that reflects the truth of your true line. From the inside out, this is one of the primary pieces of C, to debug the inner authoritarian, the one that shames and makes wrong, that beats you up with bad thoughts about how you deserve it, the hurts and pains that vibrate in your head that hurt. The inner storms, the volcanic expression, the grief that lives in unsaid. We are here to shed our tears. Our skin can flex and grow and become volcanic with the ability to express our anger into a healthy, loving container. This we do need. From C, I evolved into this social architect that I am understanding human dynamics to understand the archetypal underpinnings running through the system. The system created by the lines of cultural permission that shape the landscape of the era. That also needs to be more deeply unpacked. To look at the way power is delineated within the structure of cultural agreements that are enforced by violence. If you do not agree, you will be beheaded, castrated, imprisoned, butchered, or enslaved in some way or another. Sometimes it is blatant, other ways it can take years to identify and see the housewife imprisoned in the cage of safety and abundance that comes with being a businessman's wife, partner, mistress, friend, child, other. How the dance of survival creates the system of archetype that steps into crystallization. Cool. Go.
Yes, I am getting inspired. So what what I want to work on, so what I want to do first for like an essay, like you said, there's like we want to do like an intro kind of like overview. And what I see would be really effective would be to have the main points of, the main, what do they call it, main pain points or whatever, like the main problems, and,
main pain points.
Yeah, exactly. I hate that term so much, because it's like, let's capitalize off of people's pain points.
No, I don't mind. I like my pain point. All right, where's the pain point? Okay, now let's love it. Yeah, that's right. Oh.
Exactly.
Then we gotta find,
that's a good pain point.
Oh, yeah.
My pain point loves you.
Exactly, that's what we want.
Right. So we wanna identify the pain points, and then we wanna love them up with our cool little catchphrases and little ways of thinking of things. So I definitely want like the heart genius piece, and like the which goes along with listening to our innate wisdom and following the inner guidance rather than the outer guidance. Like that's like a whole thing. And then the social architecture is a whole thing. I mean, you have all the solutions down and you have all of the issues that you're trying to solve. So I think just writing a cohesive, like, here are the issues and here are the solutions is a good start.
I need you. I mean, like, literally, it's so funny because I wrote this little piece and then I start going in and I start unpacking and I start going here and there and so yes, framework.
So I think the best way for me to work is if you just like send me all of this stuff and I'll find a way to get this video and I'll transcribe it and like get the good parts out of it and stuff, and I'll just the way that I work is like, if it's as if I have like a big like easel or vision board in front of me or something, and I'm like, how does it look when it's like this? How does it look? So I like to kind of like try things out and move things around and play with things a bit, which it'd be hard to do on the spot because
no. This is a collaboration. You take it home,
right?
You do your thing,
and then
it comes back to me. I do my thing, and then we ping pong it, and then we.
Cool. Yeah, and then the other thing I see happening is like I'll probably start on it and be like, well, I wish that I had more content on this subject, and so I'll be able to like ask you questions and
then we'll
exactly. Yeah. So.
And what did you think about the writing just in general?
I think it's great. I think it sounds to me more like a spoken monologue or performance or speech rather than a book or
no. It is just a free. It is, what is it? A
stream of consciousness.
Thank you.
Yeah. Which is great because when you're reading it, it's like very engaging and it's the kind of thing that I would like to see, like a video of you, speaking, and it's clear. When I'm gonna modify it for like a reading.
100%. You have complete What I was thinking of doing was just keeping kind of like this is, and then when you do it, I'm gonna give it over to you, and then we're working on that. So we're kind of ping ponging off of that, and I'll just kind of have this over here, and it's my stream of consciousness thing, and then we're working on this.
Yeah, cool. And then you just like and then I give things back to you, and you just make sure that I'm like interpreting things correctly. But like in general, like I'm just gonna like move things around to be more like technically,
technically, right,
grammatically, technically, like all that stuff.
The areas that I'm lacking in, I admit, it's true.
It's okay. Those are like the easy areas.
For some people.
Well, the less important areas.
Not in our bigger world. There is, in our bigger world, there are essential components.
That's true.
In order for me to be able to say this, if it's like this, people don't actually take it at the level.
It's really true.
I know.
Grammar and like spelling and stuff like that. Like if you get an email from someone that has like grammar mistakes, I mean, when I get an email that has grammar mistakes, I'm just like, I don't think I have to respond to this. Like, it's like subconscious, but it's true. And so, and not like you have tons of mistakes or anything, but like
but I could.
Yeah, when I'm writing, I definitely like to have like somewhat of a formal voice to just make sure that like people are able to focus on the content rather than like, wait, what does that mean? Or like,
I'm excited to see how you're going to rearrange it.
Cool.
And how it's gonna land.
Me too.
Me too.
Yay.
Is that it?
Oh. This is the beginning.